Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter of all time, but at the same time, he's one of the most humble, non-confrontational superstars in the NBA. And because of that, certain players often try to get under his skin or even bully him, but they always find out why he's known as the baby-faced assassin. NBA talking heads like Big Perk learned this in 2022.
I hate to say this right now, but to be honest with you, I don't see the Golden State Warriors bringing home another championship.
Clearly remember some experts and talking heads putting up the big zero of how many championships we would have.
But over the years, the players are finding out for themselves who Steph Curry really is.
Fierce competitor, I'll tell you that. So don't get fooled by that smile when he come up here.
This is what happened to Steph Curry's victim. And first off is Damian Lillard, who, like Curry, grew up around the Bay Area during the late 2000s. Curry, being 2 years older, was like the big brother, texting and sharing advice, but once Dame got into the league, the competitive spirit got into him. In a 2016 matchup between the Blazers and Warriors, he torched Golden State for 51 points, and the Blazers won by 32 points. Everything was good, except for when Steve Kerr said he played like Steph.
Yeah, well, he's tough. I mean, he's a lot like Steph in that.
9 days later, when asked about it, he made it clear that he didn't like the comparison. But that was only the beginning. Fast forward to 2021, and the Trailblazers just trashed Curry and the Warriors again, this time by 25 points. In that game, Curry made only 4 of his 12 three-point attempts, and of course, the entire NBA started buzzing.
Heard Steph described as either a martyred saint whose otherworldly trials included roster instability, injuries, and the boxing one, or as an aging, overhyped role player who can't cross the street without a Kevin Durant-shaped cane.
Then Dame also came out with this, too.
Right now, with the injuries that the Warriors been dealing with, and Steph playing with a younger team right now, he's saying that it's tough to get those quality looks right now. It's different than what it's looked like, over the last 4 or 5 years for him. So,
well, this is what happened the very next day.
Free agent hounding Curry on the relocate, and Steph with the deep. Lillard and McCollum went for 54, but Steph went for 56 by himself.
Steph went ballistic, and by the time he was done, Dame Dollar felt very differently about the whole thing.
And Steph, he's the type, he's not going to announce that, I heard what you said, or I did, you said this, said that. He's just going to come out he's a true competitor. They think he a little light-skinned dude, but he a real competitor.
Green light.
Yeah, he going to go crazy. So he come out and he is just hitting 3 after 3 after 3. So I'm make a statement.
Well, now he can go back to seeing Curry as his big brother, unlike this next victim, Chris Paul. Back in 2008, CP3 was just 22 years old, but he had just finished the regular season second in the MVP race and earned All-NBA first-team honors. On the other hand, Steph was still preparing for the NBA, and people like CP3 were his big brothers. The two linked up at LeBron's camp for the Beijing Olympics and went on to become close. By the 2013-14 season, Curry was dropping 24 points a game and starting to challenge CP3 as the #1 point guard in the league. However, Chris Paul showed who's boss during the 2014 playoffs as the Clippers beat the Warriors in the 7-game series. But since that loss, Curry has completely owned CP3, from winning 4 titles, breaking NBA records, and even outright humiliations like this.
Double behind your back, knock it down, and the bench is loving it. Coming at Chris Paul, takes it.
Then things got more intense during the 2019 Western semifinals between the Warriors and the Rockets. While both superstars were preparing for Game 4, Chris Paul allegedly refused to share the practice court with Curry, sending him out of the Toyota Center. However, if Paul's plan was to sabotage Steph's game, it backfired spectacularly, as Curry exploded for 33 points in the second half of the game.
Curry now takes it to the rim. Curry launches it.
And just so people know why he went wild on the court, Steph said this. When asked about the practice incident, Chris Paul denied the whole thing.
Folks said you booted him off the court. That actually happened. No, that never happened. But it was a good story.
Since then, Steph has completely outshined CP3 on the court in every way. But CP3 is not the only Curry victim who was once very close to him. Here's Pat Beverly revealing how close he and Curry are.
You know, Steph's like a brother. I don't really talk about relationships with the people I do have in the NBA, but freshman year in college, roommates, USA team roommates. Sophomore year in college, Paul Pierce camp, roommates. LeBron James camp, roommates. These are things people don't know, but we've been knowing each other since we were pups.
Patrick Beverly has a reputation in the league as someone who likes to get under people's skin on the court. And during the 2016 playoffs, he got into it with Steph.
It was very physical. Beverly reached in after the whistle. Curry objected to that.
Like that wasn't enough, when Pat Bev joined the 2019 Clippers and the team later signed superstars like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, he couldn't contain himself. So, during a Warriors versus Clippers game, Bev said to Curry, "The next 5 are mine." To which Curry replied, "Aren't you like 31? We all know how that Clippers team turned out. Pat Bev remains ringless. Meanwhile, Curry got himself yet another ring in 2022. So, that next 5 years are mine quote aged like milk. So much so, even Bev denied ever saying it.
The famed quote of Pat Bev saying, "The next 5 years are mine."
Nah, it was like, no, you had your time. Like, now it's time to switch it up. It wasn't never like a 5 years or, come on.
But unlike Pat Bev, the next victim, Kevin Porter Jr., stood by his words even after getting punished for it. It was 2022, and Steph was having an off night from deep, hitting only 29% on his threes against the Rockets. So Kevin Porter thought it was wise to do this. Although Steph acted like he didn't notice the challenge, he did, and you can tell by what happened next.
Curry open three.
But it got worse as Steph flipped the script in the fourth quarter, erupting for 24 points, 21 of which came in that decisive final period. Although this is all just petty business for Curry, however, for superstars like James Harden, it's been a nightmare. Unlike most of the guys on the list, James Harden didn't directly do anything to get on Curry's bad side, unless you're counting crossovers.
Dancing with the stars here. Here's my partner. Great thing about it.
But the fans kept making comparisons, and Curry, being a fierce competitor, he couldn't have that. Since 2015, James Harden-led teams have only won 8 of their playoff matches against Curry's Warriors, who have won 17. But in 2018, James Harden was having such an incredible year, and people were starting to wonder if he could finally win the championship. He pulled the Rockets to the 2018 Western Conference Finals against the Warriors, and they even managed to force a Game 7, but that was it. In that Game 7, Curry lit up the court with 27 points, including making 7 threes. This sending Houston packing with a 101-92 win. Then, in the 2019 Western semifinals, Curry sent Harden and the Rockets back to Houston with this spectacular performance. And just in case you're wondering how petty Steph can be, look at him insinuating that the NBA lets James Harden get away with travel.
Seen that once or twice. I tried it myself, and obviously they got confused. Thought it was, they knew it was somebody different, so they called it. But it is what it is.
Now next up is Ja Morant, who quickly became an NBA star after getting drafted in 2019. But despite having a stable background, Ja always tried to act like a gangsta. So in the 2022 Western semifinals between the Grizzlies and the Warriors, Morant wanted to challenge the best player on the court, and that was Steph Curry. So after their Game 5 win, Morant led his team to chant Grizz in 7. Really? Well, all that fun ended in the next game as the Warriors ended their dreams in the next game. But Morant wasn't done yet, as he would say this a year later.
I'm fine in the West.
he continued overstating his team's strength and ability to compete with the Warriors. So, after clashing with a fan and Draymond Green on X/Twitter over a Christmas Day clash, the Warriors rolled over the Grizzlies with a 14-point blowout. And they didn't even need Curry to do that. While Ja only tried to challenge Curry because he wants to be the face of the league, Curry already went toe-to-toe with the face of the league. The rivalry between Curry and LeBron remains one of the greatest rivalries of the game, and before the back-to-back finals battle from 2015 to 2018, the bromance was there. Back in 2008, LeBron used to watch Curry play, like the day he dropped 44 points while playing in the NCAA. They became really close, with Steph often joining LeBron's camp at the Olympics. But that all changed in 2015 when Curry snagged the MVP and led Golden State to a title. Then came the following season where Curry became the first unanimous MVP, something that LeBron still thinks about.
I also had an opportunity too I would have been the first unanimous MVP where I got all 120 votes. But I got 119th.
Carmelo.
There was a one vote, he voted for Carmelo.
But it was a writer in New York, man.
Of course. But I know his name too, but I ain't gonna give you that light just yet.
And while everyone prepared for the playoffs, Curry just wanted to know if it still smelled like champagne in Cleveland.
When you finally hit a horn sound, we in Cleveland like celebrating, chains was off. Like, all right, who knows what's about to happen from
Nonetheless, LeBron came back for Curry that year with a remarkable 3-1 comeback in the finals. He then went on to don an Ultimate Warrior shirt and hosted a Halloween bash complete with Curry and Clay-themed tombstones. The whole thing was wild, but that was the last time LeBron ever beat Curry's Warriors in the NBA Finals. They met at the Finals twice after that, and it ended 3-1 in favor of Golden State. But in all that pettiness, as both players have grown, they've rekindled their bromance once again. Next, we have the Boston Celtics, who in 2022 took pettiness to a whole nother level. You see, in the 2022 Finals, Curry was nothing short of a wrecking ball, averaging 31.2 points and shooting 43.7% from deep. He turned what could have been a routine series into an absolute massacre. So, when the finals turned out to be between the Warriors and Celtics, Boston needed a way to get under Curry's skin. So,
night workers at a Boston bar are sporting new t-shirts for the NBA Finals that read, "Aisha Curry can't cook." That, of course, refers to cookbook author and Warriors guard Steph Curry's wife.
So why are they targeting her culinary skills? WBZ's Rachel Holt visited that bar today to find out.
But that mental warfare turned out to be a bad thing for the Celtics as he went ballistic. Golden State defeated the Boston Celtics 103-90 in Game 6, winning the series 4-2. Steph Curry led the Warriors with 34 points, shooting 12 of 21 from the field and 6 of 11 from three-point range as he won his first NBA Finals MVP award. Here's Juwan Morgan narrating how crazy it was.
So we sitting there, and he just like, enjoy y'all last win.
Drop the mic.
That was Game 3, and I was just like, like us, like it's 2-1. Like, what you mean? Like I'm sitting here like this. I'm like, man, what size am I? Like, I need my ring size. It was
bro, he couldn't lose, bro. He couldn't lose that series.
He said that, and I was just like, and like in my head, I'm thinking like this kept me up at night. I'm like, did he? I'm like, nah, he ain't say that.
The lesson is clear. Don't ever mess with Steph Curry. Either join him or keep quiet. And speaking of joining Steph, you should watch why Jimmy Butler chose to join Steph Curry and the Warriors next.